Welcome to video number 4, where we will be doing a cylinder head removal, which is this and all of this. The materials required is our safety glasses. Then we need our socket set. To begin, we need to go ahead and remove the valve cover, which is this right here. It's got 4 screws in each corner, right there, right there, right there. Loose. Go ahead. Get all this. One thing that's kind of interesting about this is the cover is also has the breather attached to it, the crankcase breather, which is this tube. Basically, any excess pressure or whatever goes out through this tube, which gets put back into the carburetor. So no air fuel mixture is lost or any exhaust is lost. I mean, anything that still needs burned goes back. This is the gasket for here. Usually just double check, see how that looks. This one looks fine. I won't be taking it off because I don't want to break it. You guys shouldn't take it off either if it's still in here. So yeah, there's the valve cover, which opens up the push rods and our valve, the top end of our valves for the overhead valve system. So there's that. So what we need to do next is we need to actually pull our push rods out, which, let's see if you can see, they're down in there, right there. And to do that, we need to, if you can tell, there's pressure on this still, not on this one, but on this one. So we can't get that out of there. We need to position our engine to top dead center during its compression stroke. So what we do is we rotate this guy here. You see that this moves and we're rotating our flywheel in our clockwise direction. Get this out of the way. Until they're both have no pressure on them. So see how that's loose and that's loose. And you can also check that it's at top dead center through our spark plug hole. We can try to look down there, but it's gonna be hard to see because it's dark. But you can put our pencil in there and you see it's at the top. So if I rotate this, if I keep rotating it, keep on coming up and go back down, right? So what I'm gonna do is get it up to top dead center, so right there, where they're both loose. So then what we do is we can push down on this and turn it to the side for both of them. And these are our push rod cups. These are right here. And then you gotta be careful. These guys right here are caps, and they're actually just loosely in there. They're just a piece that's in between both of them. So remember, do not lose these. These are hard to lose. They're tiny and people forget about them. I'm gonna pull them both out just so that I remember that, so they don't fall when I take everything apart. Then, now that we've moved that out of the way, we can go ahead and pull our push rods out. Be careful with those two. You don't want to bend those, because if those get bent, or if you open an engine with a bent push rod, you gotta replace it. It's gonna be no bueno. Now that we have the push rods out, we're gonna go ahead and take off our cups. What you need to do is you need a 10mm wrench and a 14, and you're going to loosen that 10 off the top. It's important you do it this way. You don't use a socket because they're both separate. So the socket won't really work very well. But you get that undone. You can go ahead and take this off. We're gonna leave the studs in there, but if you ever get bored, you can take those out someday. Not in this time though. I go ahead and loosen those two up. Basically what they are is they're tightened down on each other to hold everything in a certain spot. So we got those two. We don't want to lose any of this stuff. This stuff is important to keep together. Now we're going to go ahead and take off these 4 bolts. There's 2 on the inside and 2 up here. That holds on our head gasket. It's 12 millimeter. Be on there pretty tight. I'm going to size up my wrench. Give me more torque, more leverage. I'll get back on once I get them loose. So I went ahead and got the head gasket off. You can see the gasket right here. I just didn't take this part off. It's still on there. Most of the time you'd probably have to replace this. It'd be damaged. But yeah, I put my bolts back. One thing to note, to look for, make sure you don't lose, is these sleeves come out on the bottom 2. There you have sleeves. So don't lose those. And that's how I keep everything together, just like usual. Keep my bolts where they're supposed to go. Okay, so we're done disassembling for today. We've gotten, we got the cylinder head off, and we've taken apart our push rods. And I'm going to explain a little bit on how it works. You've got your push rod caps right here, and these are the nuts that position it into the right place. And then these are our valve caps that go on top of our valves, because these are our valves right here, and these are springs that keep our valves pushed up. So the spring down in there, I don't know how well you can see. Another time we'll take this apart and we'll explain those a little deeper. But the springs push up on the valves, keeping them closed at all times. This side's our exhaust and this is our intake. You can tell that just by looking at it, because this side has more of like burnt look, and this side's more of a clean look, because as it sparks in there, the exhaust goes out the exhaust valve. One other thing to mention while we're looking at this from the bottom is look at the size difference in our exhaust valve and our intake valve. The exhaust valve is smaller than the intake valve. And the reason for that is because we have more stuff coming into the engine, the air-fuel mixture coming in, than is leaving, because you're having some of that get burned. So a lot of it gets burned inside the chamber, inside of here, when this is down, and the rest of it goes out the exhaust into our muffler, out this side. So remember, your intake valve is bigger than your exhaust valve. So back over to this side, you have your springs and your valves right there, and you have your push rods that go down in through here. And we haven't gotten to it yet, but we will in the next couple videos, is the valves connect to your valve tappets. They're called tappets. They're down inside the engine, and they connect to your camshaft. And your camshaft has on it some lobes that rotate. And as they rotate, they're lobes, so they're kind of like a oval or like a teardrop shape. So as it turns, it pushes up in different spots. So it pushes up here, which this acts as a lever. As this gets pushed up, this side pushes down, opening the exhaust valve. So that's just a little sneak peek into how the camshaft and the valves work. We'll get more in depth as we go on into more videos. So that's where we are for today, taking apart the cylinder head.